Hi, my name is Dan Malone and I'm in one of the teaching labs here at Monash University. I just thought I'd post a quick recording just to talk about the discussion that's been happening in the 1.15 section in terms of specific drug targets. So there's some great examples identified in terms of drug targets that exist, and that drugs that do have specific drug targets, such as painkillers like morphine, paracetamol, aspirin, these sorts of drugs, do have targets in the body in terms of where they work. There was some disagreement about, in particular, some chemotherapy drugs and whether they have specific targets or not. And I think that they do, in that, yes, drug targets or chemotherapy drugs act by different mechanisms. Some of them bind directly to the DNA and stop cells dividing. So because they bind directly to that to the DNA, they are specific in terms of their drug target. Others bind to enzymes that stop DNA unwinding, and so again there's a specific target there that they're targeting to. Atropine was mentioned as a drug that has effects in the digestive tract. If I talk again about my friend Sammy here, has effects in the digestive tract, but also can affect the eye in terms of the muscles in the eye, and is a risk factor for glaucoma. But it still has a specific target. They're called muscarinic receptors, and unfortunately they exist both in the digestive tract, in the eye, and actually elsewhere around the body as well, such as the lungs. So yes, they have a specific drug target. It's just that drug target is in several parts of the body, which means that you get side effects from taking drugs like atropine. So yes, it still has a specific drug target. Drugs that don't, antacids was a really good example that someone mentioned. So they act in the intestine, or more so in the stomach actually, and just neutralise acid secretion. So they're not binding to a specific protein to exert their effect. Other examples that I could include are, say, your osmotic diuretics, or osmotic laxatives. So drugs that work by osmosis, what they do is basically just exist in a part of the body, such as the colon or in the kidneys, and they encourage water to come to that area. So that's why osmotic laxatives are used. They increase the amount of fluid in the bowels, and therefore can help to treat constipation. So again, they're acting by an indirect mechanism. They're not binding to a specific drug target. Many acknowledge that it seems very few drugs, I should say, will treat a problem or a condition without causing other side effects, and this is absolutely right. That most targets, or most drugs I should say, aren't entirely specific for their effect. I mentioned atropine before, that it can bind to receptors both in the intestinal area and elsewhere around the body to cause side effects, but other drugs can bind to multiple different types of targets and therefore produce side effects as well. Hope this has been useful.